This podcast is part of E2C Network, where we share the whole Auburn experience. David Housel described it best. We are living the whole of the Auburn experience. You can quantify it, you can qualify it through a variety of methods, time, people, places, and things. But at its heart and at its core, it is all about a few things: Auburn sports, Auburn culture, Auburn family. And the easy way to say that, if it's orange and blue, it is what we do. So thank you so much for joining us in what we're doing tonight on episode 171 of the Auburn Experience podcast. As always, I'm your host, Kyle Loomis, proud alumni, also proud alumni, sitting in number 2. And we say alumni because we've been that for a while. We're old now, but we're going to celebrate it anytime that's an occasion to do that. Mr. Austin Scott, welcome back, sir.
Thank you. Happy to be here. Proud alumnus as always. And there are many more now added to our number after Absolutely. A week. And I think still even tomorrow, there are more to be added. So it's that time of year.
Yeah, it is that time of year. It's so wild how they have to roll these over even into Monday now. That just shows you how much that Auburn, the university, has grown in its attendance and its enrollees, all that kind of stuff. That, I mean, it used to be back in my day, Austin.
Oh boy.
We had the privilege and the curse in some ways of being able to graduate in Jordan-Hare Stadium for the championship year. If you were there either as a graduate or a attendee, the stretchers had to be pulled out with people dehydrated and passing out there. But it was still a cool experience. But now with the Auburn Neville Arena, and you can like spread these things out and just have it much more manageable. So yeah, it's not surprised that they're into Monday now. But just since we're here in the middle of this to start off the show celebrating alumni, what day did you graduate? Like Friday, Saturday, Sunday? Do you remember?
Oh gosh. I think it was a Saturday. Because my whole family came. We did some brunch with Emily's family. I think it was a Saturday. I feel pretty good about that. It might have been a Sunday, but it was on the weekend. It wasn't Monday because I went to a friend's the next day. So theirs was Monday. So it was, well, I guess it was Sunday then. I feel pretty good it was Sunday.
Yeah, I think ours was Saturday. I know that because of variety of other reasons why that happened. And it was like the most scorching day ever in the history of May. And it was just wild to think about it at that point. So I've been to graduations at Auburn since they've had the Neville Arena experience, then the Auburn Arena for those experience. And
I was one of those. I was an Auburn Arena graduate. But funny enough, my brother was a Jordan-Hare graduate because of COVID.
Mm-hmm. Oh, I forgot they did it one more time.
They brought it all the way back. Yep,
they did. Now, do you remember what that weather situation was like for them? I guess we had other concerns, but it was pleasant.
Mainly in the evening, so it was pleasant. But yeah,
okay. See, that is the one thing that we messed up on, and I say we like I had a hand in it. We were all just excited to be in the stadium because of the national championship year. It had no clue what we were about to get into. That it should have happened at night. Now, did they split up the graduations in Jordan-Hare or they just do it all as one big thing?
No, I think it was split up because it wasn't near as long as it could have been, I don't think.
So just think about this. Just everybody put yourself into I'm not complaining, please. I'm very grateful for what we have, but you have to understand, if you were there, you knew. Think about one of the more record heat days in May that you've ever had in Alabama, and Auburn, Alabama. Think about that. All graduations, including graduate programs, in one ceremony for the entire, and I want you to also think about this too, that we did them alphabetical order. The College of Science and Mathematics was dead last. So we sat for what felt like 4 or 5 hours. At the end of it all, we were taking off the robes essentially, and undoing the ties and things like that. And then when you realize like you had been almost like passed out, you forgot what time it was. You had like hurry and put your tie back on and get back up there. So I have this beautiful picture of me going up to shake the Gouge's hand and get my diploma. But if you looked at like close at my face, you can see how like just red and everything is just from sunburn and all this stuff. It was a wild time.
I was Sunday May 6th. I went back and looked, and so I was
Sunday,
May 6th. But
Sunday May. Oh, so this week will be 3 days from when we're recording. This will be your anniversary of
yeah, that's right.
What? How many years has it been?
8.
You got any funny memories from your graduation? Since we're reminiscing right now, or was yours pretty low key?
It was pretty low key. I want to say I had the speaker was a lady who was over a bunch of chicken. She was like in charge of chicken.
So you had
she didn't leave me too much of a lasting impact on me. Obviously, I was more excited just to do it. Now, I didn't get to shake the Gouge's hand. I won't talk about who I got to shake, but it happened, and it was a very proud moment for me, as we've talked about before.
So just think about the different graduation eras that we've talked about here: the championship, death by heat situation, the COVID era for your brother, and you with a era of Auburn leadership we're not very fond of. So
that's right.
We covered the whole gamut here tonight of good and bad and all those types of things. There's one other thing though that I am really enjoying this week with graduation and all that, and it's in some ways it's very bittersweet because it takes me back to that time as well. All the videos that with everybody having social media now of posting like, man, that went by fast, and doing these little, the graduation song videos and stuff like that, showing clips of all their time at Auburn and stuff. I mean, that stuff gets you in your feels, man, and puts you back in that time. It's like, hey, man, I hope y'all, if you are just arriving at Auburn, enjoy it. It is going to be gone before you know it. So have you seen a bunch of those videos?
Plenty. And like you said, it goes by too soon. So if you're here, enjoy it. Your 4 years, 5, maybe 6, will be up before you know it. So congrats to all those. And I guess a bittersweet sorry to all those, because you have to leave now.
I know, literally get out, and and when you come back, you will, like, first thing you'll say is, "Wow, Auburn changed!" Like literally overnight, it will have grown up and popped up in ways that you even. And think about this, like it's going to tie into what we'll talk about towards the end of the show with Jordan-Hare North. Think about how that is going to just be so wildly different from those graduates right now, and we're not even talking about the town and all of that expansion and things like that. So I guess in all, wrapping this together here, we want to obviously welcome a ton of you into the special part of the Auburn family. Everybody is a part of the Auburn family that chooses to be so. But when you're an alumni, that's a special little moniker, or not moniker, but just, I don't want to call it a level. What am I looking for here, Austin?
Just a subset of the family. Yeah, it's just a different little era, different little experience of the overall experience.
I'm going to honor this in our chat tonight. We don't normally honor the chat requests during the show. We do that post show, but I think it's a great question for one of our listeners, Hunter. And so, since we're reminiscing right now, Austin, what was your favorite moment of being an Auburn student?
Oh, an impossible question.
I'm putting you on the spot first.
Yeah.
That's why I did it.
Look, I could go so many routes here. I could get really sappy and say the best friends I have ever had, I made at Auburn. They're my groomsmen. We talk literally every day. And so that moments with them are hard to come. Road game travels, all the things, those are hard to go up against. I wasn't there for a title, but I was there for the resurgence of the basketball program. Saw the first SEC championship under Bruce. That was a special day. I can remember my friend Sam and I at the regular season clinching game versus South Carolina. Seeing the confetti fall in Auburn Arena was something I just did not think was ever going to happen. And then my senior year, that was my senior spring, and then my senior fall was the number one Georgia victory and number one Alabama victory. So those were special days. If I had to go the sports route, man, I don't know. I got engaged to the love of my life at Auburn.
I was about to say, how long is it going to take?
I'm getting there. But I mean, it's really hard to pick. But I'm reminded by so many of them living here all the time. So that's a good thing to have.
I'm going to do the correct thing, and my favorite memory was proposing to my beautiful wife Jessica in the rain room in front of in front of the national championship trophy with her ring sitting right there next to it and saying, you know how long I've wanted this trophy for my football team. This means nothing to me compared to being able to be your husband someday. And there's some kind of version of that. Let mic drop. I win. That's the correct answer. Now, when the mics go off and the recording's off, I'll tell you what the other answers are, Austin. But yes.
Well, I've already botched that. So we should do, since we both have unique Auburn engagement stories, we can do that. On in the summer, we should go through each one. I think that'd be fun.
Yeah, I think it's a good one. I have like a list on our little show notes down there at the bottom of possible if we need things to talk
just
about.
Keeps growing.
Just throw it in there, and we'll get to it at some point, along with all the long list of Mount Rushmores and stuff. We got to get on some of that this summer because there's some ones that we definitely need to do.
There'll be time.
There will be time. All right. Speaking of time, no time like the present to jump into Auburn potpourri. As always, plenty to talk about there. Just things that we won't have as much time to break out and need to maybe expand on too much here. But let's start off with some football. Certainly spring football is done and all that's wrapped up, but that doesn't mean there's not going to be plenty to talk about. In this summer period, it seems like Auburn is really picking up with their 2027 class. We talked a little bit about that last week with the running back commit, but this week we got two. So let's take them one by one here and start off with your first commit of the week last week. And I believe at the time would have been the fourth commit in the class. And that was going to be Jalen Moore, offensive lineman. There's some notes out there that'll make him an interior offensive lineman, but just say offensive lineman. And he's going to be the next one in the Auburn class that was brought in at the first part of the week out of the state of Georgia. So obviously it's been a big concern, that position, whether it's interior offensive tackle center for a long time for Auburn in its consistency as a unit. Maybe this is the first start of a brand new continuity and depth being built under new coach Alex Golesh in the way that he needs his offensive lines to look. So the very first offensive lineman and another one out of the state of Georgia. You got to love it.
Yeah, gotta love it. And like you said, there's finally going into this year, there's some continuity of at least of who's familiar with each other on the offensive line. So hopefully this is the beginning of fixing that maybe decade long offensive line. We've been trying to get now. I mean, it feels pretty close of issues if we go back to a certain hire. And so I think that if we can just get the offensive line cohesive, Kyle and I beat that drum a lot. A lot of things go right. So we'll see if Mr. Moore is part of that beginning of this new era.
I always like to look at fun little numbers of classes when somebody commits and things like that. And some of these are meaningless. He's the second Moore in the class, with Donovan Moore being the first coming out of Bessemer, the first offensive lineman, the first interior offensive lineman, the second out of the state of Georgia, Fairburn, Georgia, more specifically, if you're from that area, maybe that resonates a little bit with you. His measurables, depending on where you look, somewhere in the 6'4", 290-ish range. So I just don't stress too much when I see them on these recruiting sites being put as an interior offensive line, because that's based off currently what they are, not what they're going to develop into. I mean, who was it? Dylan Wade that basically played everything for us at one point, offensive tackle guard. I think he just had to back up at center a few games because of injuries and things like that. So I just don't put too much emphasis on what they are currently. That may be what they come into Auburn as. But at this point, with the offensive line issues you and I already addressed here, just throw him in. If he helps fix his offensive line, just throw him in somewhere at this point.
He's a body.
He's a body, and obviously the very first one for Coach Golesh in this class, obviously in the first complete class that he'll have as the Auburn head coach. The second one of the week, the fifth one of the class at the time of his commitment, and I think I'm going to pronounce this correctly, Brylan Odur. Sounds good?
It's pretty good.
I think, do you have any disagreements with that?
I have. That's exactly how I would go with it.
Odur, which is just a cool last name. I've just never heard.
I hope it's not odor.
I wasn't going to go that way with it. So what you did, you had to ruin it. Brylan Odur out of Murfreesboro, Tennessee, and Riverdale. Now, I got a quick personal note on that in a second. If I think it's where it is, and I think it's the same place. Maybe not. I'm trying to remember all this.
Wasn't that a TV show?
Yes, it is, but I'm not going there. So not
Okay.
nothing pop culture unless you just want to. Wide receiver, like you said, out of the state of Tennessee. He is that second commit of that week, the fifth at the time of this class. So wide receivers obviously made a big splash under Coach Freeze, and they showed up in a lot of ways, but obviously there were other issues besides them. First wide receiver for Coach Golish in an era where he says, I'm just quoting him, excuse the language, we're going to run the piss out of the ball. So obviously this wide receiver sees something that he likes in Coach Golish and his offense.
Yeah, I mean, he might have said that, but he's also got proof of concept of some 3,000-yard passers in his line. So that somebody's got to catch those yards. And so I'm sure that is attractive. There's a certain kind of receiver you need for this offense. And there's a lot of them that are now at Auburn, courtesy of Coach Alex Golish. So we'll see if Mr. Odor fits in the coming years at Auburn as maybe the next great receiver.
Potentially so. 6'2" 200, 205, where depending where you look at him. We obviously don't focus a ton on the stars here, but if you're interested, some have him at a 3 or 4. It varies so much everywhere. So here's the thing. First wide receiver, first one out of the state of Tennessee. We don't get a ton out of the state of Tennessee, which is really weird to me. I mean, we do. There's always somebody, I feel like, in a recruiting class because whether it's Murfreesboro or somewhere around Nashville or something like that. That's a little numbers game thing that I always like to look at with the classes. But here's the personal tie. If Murfreesboro, I think, is it close to Memphis, or am I wrong on that? Do you know?
I have no idea. I do not know my Tennessee geography at all.
Well, I went to Riverdale Elementary like back in the day, and so I was wondering if they are now a high school and if that's close to Memphis at all. Because maybe that's it. I'm probably 100% wrong because I think I saw that. It could have been that they're the Raiders, and if that's the case, that's what we were in elementary. Anyway, doesn't matter.
How about it?
I'm just trying to throw a personal tie into all this. When I saw that pop up and I went Tennessee, hey, maybe
you went to elementary school in Tennessee though,
for like 2 years
for a time. Okay.
Yeah, just for 2 years in transition period. This has turned into the Kyle personal life segment.
This is Kyle's life story on the podcast so far.
With Brylan Odor just being a feature in it. So sorry there, Brylan. But welcome to the class 2027, first wide receiver for Coach Golish in that. Let's keep moving on here in Auburn potpourri. We can obviously bounce around to some other things that if we want to come back to some of these other segments. Tennis. Let's talk some tennis here. A big week with postseason play beginning. A lot of hype around the men and the women. And certainly the women have been the biggest talk of the story. But let's just address the men. They had a great start to their first match of postseason play, being out at Baylor. Waco, been out there a lot myself. They did beat Santa Clara 4-3 to move on to the round of 32, but they had to take on the host site team, Baylor, and lost 1-4. The men's tennis team all season was, I think, ranked pretty much the entire year. And they came up against a team that's higher ranked, higher seed than them. So this isn't, shocking in that way. They didn't get the doubles point to start off, so that can be a little bit tough to overcome. But to coach Bobby Reynolds and the men's side of things, while having to deal with the women's tennis taking the attention all right now, I think they had a pretty solid season making postseason play and all that.
Yeah, really solid season, making it to the postseason. Like you said, you run into the host team that's always a bit of a uphill climb. And especially the doubles point, like you said, kind of sets the tone. But it's a good season, really fun to keep up with. And like we've talked about before out there at the Yarborough Center, it's always really fun. So I'm really proud of them for a great season. And they flew under the radar a lot this year, mostly because of their counterpart, but they flew under the radar, but it still should be acknowledged what a great season.
Absolutely. And by the way, they're calling it the Yarb now. I know it's the Yarborough Center, but how do you like that? I
haven't heard that. Like I'm not against it.
I'm not against it, but it doesn't flow as like the Nev does for Neville Arena because they never win there. Well,
the Yarb.
I want to say the Yarb. You know what it doesn't flow as well with as get to the hopper. That's what the best. That is.
Can we call it the bro?
Oh,
but
yeah,
but men's and women's. Yeah,
but I'm just thinking of like it's Yarborough. No, it is Yarborough.
In the Auburn dialect, it's Yarborough.
Okay,
we'll work the bro. I kind of like the bro. We need. Look, at the moment right now, the women are a little bit superior, so I think they'd have to give their blessing. But the bro, I kind of like the bro.
Hey, listen, we'll workshop and figure it out.
Let's go to the bro. Let's go to the bro.
Hey,
what do you think? Sounds better than let's go to the yard, man. What do you think? I mean, I think
maybe.
the bro's better.
Maybe so. That'll get all the fraternities out there for the tennis
Bro.
matches. We call it the bro.
Let's go to the bro. Me and my bros at the bro.
You can totally tell that Austin was not in a fraternity. Like right
Absolutely
now. I'm just showing all his cards right now.
No shots to those that were, but I was not.
Yeah. Right. I'm going to get us out of that hole we're digging for ourselves.
All right, bro.
The women's tennis team postseason play this week. Obviously very exciting. A lot of expectations. Hosting at the Yarb, as they're calling it, or as we're trying to workshop, the bro, whatever you want to call it. Listen, even Coach acknowledged it, Coach Zabo, that it's tough to get there on a Friday when this started, but Saturday apparently there was a great crowd out there. Those that attended saw a hosting Auburn team beat Bryant 4-0 and then just go to do Miami 4-0 as well. I mean, they're the number 2 overall seed. You expect big things out of them, but not a single point is scored against them. Now, if you understand how tennis works, like if you get to that 4th point that quick, they don't finish the other matches. There's 7 points available so there could have been some points potentially, but if there's no point in finishing those, right? Like what's the point for a point? Yeah. If you've already got the mercy ruled at that point. So really, really strong performance. And I don't know that we expected anything less from them the way they performed all season, right?
Well, we just got done talking about how the men had a hard time with the host, but hey, they managed a point. Auburn women's decided to not let Miami or Bryant have any fun, and just went and swept the regional. So good for them. Now you get to host the super regional, and Duke comes to town, and so hopefully there's more of the same coming.
More of the same coming, and I'm glad that you brought that up. So let me just give the rundown for people so I've got the bracket already pulled up. Auburn will continue to host super regionals. I love that the super regional terminology goes from from other helpful sports and all that stuff too. It just kind of helps everybody who's not paying attention to sports like tennis as much as they should be get that little bit of connective tissue there. So super regional at the Yarb, workshopping the bro. Auburn versus Duke, 2 seed versus 15 seed. And obviously Auburn being at home and being the higher seed would likely be favored there. So we'll see how all that shakes out. I'm not asking for predictions, Austin, but what I want to point you to potentially is what happens after this one. If you look at who they would match up against, very interesting matchups there, because first of all, the obvious one is LSU, who they had to beat by the skin of their teeth in the SEC tournament to get their SEC title. So a potential rematch being set up there if this goes the way Auburn should, and if there's an upset by LSU. But then you got Virginia, and even though it's not the same sport, can you double dribble in tennis? Like, is it possible?
I bet. Well, I'm sure you can. I don't know if it's illegal to, but those are 2 very fun storylines, no matter what.
Either way, I mean, listen, we'll find. I think the double dribble jokes will abound if we can get to that matchup there. But I'll be honest, I kind of want to take on Virginia rather than LSU, because we saw what happened with LSU.
They know you. Yeah.
They know you. They know what you're susceptible for, all that kind of stuff. So that's the way it shakes out for Auburn women's tennis. Their journey through the postseason continues, and continuing what's already been a great season.
Will they host the next one? I'm sorry, I don't know how it works.
I'll be honest, I don't know. To me, it would stand to reason that they would, because I think if I'm looking at
how far do we go here? I would think because of this bracket, the semis look like they're kind of set apart, like that might be a neutral site, but
yeah, I think that's probably how it goes. So I'm going to assume that you're hosting essentially the Elite 8 if you make it past the Sweet 16 here as well. But we're learning here. We're all
maybe the regional final.
Maybe the regional final.
This looks like a basketball bracket. So
it does.
Maybe that's the regional final.
This is a good opportunity for those of you that have not locked into collegiate tennis. This is a year to do it so you can understand it a little bit more and kind of get involved with it. It's a fun sport to watch, and it can be very nail biting.
Get to the bro.
Whatever you
hit us up, Coach Zabro. Tell me you like that. I need some reassurance.
Zabro? Coach Zabro?
Coach Zabro. He might not like that. That's not his name. I'm not getting what I need from Kyle here, so let me know if you like the bro. Get to the bro.
I've heard much worse from you over the
Get to the bro. I hope I wasn't fuzzy for that.
No, you're good. And I so wish you were not having a great connection right then. Wow. Okay. I'm going to move us on to our next topic. That's two topics in a row I'm trying to transition to, and you're doing some shenanigans in the middle of this thing.
I'm feeling myself.
Gymnastics is our next topic that we're going to get to. If you can get it together, sir, please. What is wrong with you? This is ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous.
I'm ready.
Gymnastics has had quite the exciting couple of weeks with the naming and now introduction of head coach Ryan Roberts, former co-head coach of the Georgia Bulldogs, coming on over. We also have a staff that's assembled as well. But one quick note, and I knew this kind of when we were talking about this last week. Have you reconciled that our guy has literally been to the other rivals and spent a lot of time there, and that the staff has as well, not only head coach at Georgia, assistant coach at Alabama previously? How's that sit with you, Austin?
Well, I mean, everybody, whether we come to know Jesus at an early age or come to know him on our deathbed, we all go to heaven and so if you come to know the Lord and Savior, your Lord and Savior, you get to go through the golden gates. So he found the light at some point. It's okay. It doesn't matter how long it takes us.
You are on one tonight. I'm just going to go ahead and say that.
Tell me that's not an accurate analogy right there.
I'm just going. I'm gonna keep going.
The thief on the cross spent only a few minutes getting to know Jesus, but he still went to paradise.
That's fair. I'm just going to keep going. I don't disagree with the.
I'm preaching, man.
You go right ahead. All right,
bro.
Wow, not back to the other one. Wow, Austin is just. What did you do this weekend? Like, what's going on?
I was at the beach, man. Had a lot of War Eagle moments.
Oh, we didn't even get to talk about those.
I know. We got sappy with your alums, but
I'm sorry.
It was good. It was good. No, I'm good. It was just subtle ones, more than I anticipated happening. It was good though.
Okay, good. All right, here's the staff for the Auburn gymnastics team, and this is a good opportunity for you to get acquainted with the staff. I know a lot of you probably don't check in as much as you do the others as gymnastics. Ryan Roberts is your new head coach. Only head coach, no co-head coach like he was at Georgia. But he talked about in his introductory press conference that he was going to hire 3 other people to be on his staff, all technically new names as coaches.
They had that lined up quick too.
Well, if you listen to his intro, he basically said, like, I can't say it, like I can't, but it's done. And he was so specific in how he described each of the positions. I was like, this dude's got it already figured out.
Yeah.
All right. So Asia Sims Fletcher, associate head coach, so second in command, former Alabama gymnast. We'll make peace with it. I did notice in her statement she didn't say War Eagle yet, so we got to work on that.
We got to work on that.
We got to work on that.
Came from Illinois, is that right?
Came from Illinois, yes, and
as a coach,
yeah. But then performing. And listen, we're making light of the Alabama thing, but obviously that's a gold standard in gymnastics. And
yes,
if you got to pull from somewhere, we'll give you respect where respect is due.
Not imagine I didn't look this up, but he was there while she was there.
I think that is the correlation as well. And he talked about, I think, the connections that he had either as a coach with some of his staff that he was going to bring in, but just either professionally through working with those that maybe were in the collegiate space, but in the training space in the gymnastic circuit space, which brings us into Adam Duncan, the second assistant coach, but just the title of assistant coach. He's from Texas out that way, and a lot of I forget how you describe it, but I would call it the
gyms, the training.
The gyms. Yeah. So obviously I would imagine that his influence and his connections are going to be really strong in the recruiting space and all of that and training. I think this is the guy he was talking about, very technical person as well. So Adam Duncan.
And I think the co-head coach at Georgia he was with was of that realm too. And they were kind of combined he had the college experience, she had the gym. And so this is new. That's not new to him on that partnership.
Sure. And that's what you do as a good head coach. You find people where you want to kind of, give some of that responsibility to. And here's the exciting one for Auburn folks out there. And this is like the same level when like Cody Burns was announced that he was coming back I know for a lot of you, because you have learned to love this young lady Very much so if you've been paying to Auburn gymnastics, because she is just a beam of light every single time she went up there. Yes, we're talking about a former gymnast, Auburn gymnast. Sophia, as you knew her then, grow. Sophia Davila is now back. She is married and she is going to be an assistant coach. Man, that's a cool Auburn story right there, to have someone come back so quickly as an Auburn gymnast and be an assistant coach here.
Yeah, and what a testament to her for this coach that competed against her to be able to see what she can bring, what he might need to learn the Auburn way. I saw her announcement post from Auburn Gymnastics but she had her new name, and so I was like, oh, that girl looks familiar. And I was like, wait a minute, and I went back and saw it was our Sophia, former growth, and so that's very cool. Very cool. She's still around the area. And obviously has lots of connections here, and is, I think, really helps this staff kind of start on the good foot,
Mm-hmm. And let's just give her a shout out. I mean, like, she's like the ultimate Auburn power couple. She married an Auburn cheerleader. She's an Auburn gymnast. Like, this is a really cool thing that we got going on. This is what you do as a head coach. You find your people that you definitely want to have in terms of whether they're Auburn people or not. But if you can find a way to work that Auburn connection into your staff, that endears you so quickly. It makes us forget about your Alabama ties and the other coaches' Alabama ties very quickly. And Sophia is the big one.
And if it helps us, think how much it helps the girls in that locker room who were with Sophia just last year and just the year before, and who came to Auburn for Coach Jeff Graba, who'd been here for 16 years. There's a lot of kind of upheaval when he decides, or they mutually part ways, and then those girls are kind of left wondering. Now Sophia comes in to be able to say, I'm here. We're going to reset a little bit and see if they can calm the water. So very cool to have her on staff. And like you said, so soon. I cannot think of anybody that quick of a turnaround suddenly becomes on staff.
Yeah, it's very probably rare, but this feels very right, like in a way, but someone that you definitely want associated with your program as a student, but now as the head coach. So the staff is assembled and complete, it seems, based off their wording, and the coach, the way he set everything up in his intro. So there you go. Get acquainted. I know it just ended, but gymnastics season will be here before you know it, and we'll have a schedule and everything like that very soon. Is there anything from regions or basketball that you really wanted to hit this week? We can kind of move along, but I certainly, if there's anything that you wanted to touch on, I don't want to take it away from us.
Nothing specific. I'm kind of looking through our list here. We talked about George Kimball last week. He's officially a signee. I think Keyshawn Hall going to the NBA Combine special. I think there's no surprise his talent of a scorer or being a threat on the court was seen by the pros. I don't know. I mean, I'm okay to move on unless you've got something.
No, I just would recommend anytime that you have an opportunity to hear from head coaches, please go do that. We don't have anything from the regions on our sites, but plenty of other media groups do. Those that are able to attend the regions golf tournament that happens every spring. And they get a lot of the head coaches there, former and current, to come and speak to the media about what's going on in the sport or in their particular teams. You heard from Coach Stephen Pearl, who did play. And then you also heard from Coach Gullish, who didn't play, but was there to hang out and speak with the media a little bit. So
you think that was strategic?
I was almost done with it. You're going to bring that back in. I think the dude just literally doesn't play golf, and he did his due diligence to go there. I think people want there to be a story there,
and I'm poking the bear, and I don't really care. I don't really care, but I do. It's just funny.
It is funny. It shouldn't be, though. But that tells you like how obsessive people are about like trying to also like make that a bigger thing than it actually was. But I appreciate Coach Golish making the effort to go up there and speak to me and make an appearance, because he had some really cool interaction. There was the one, I don't know if you saw. Was it a Bama kid that wanted an autograph of his and he made him say War Eagle, or was he just being very shy?
I don't know if the kid was an Alabama kid but he was he was there for as a something, something as a part of a promotional event for regions or a charity event or what. And I don't know if he was an Alabama fan, but the way he was acting, how non-budging he was on saying War Eagle, made it seem that way. But he got it. Coach Golish got it out of him.
He did. Coach Golish is just like sitting there, and he's just like, I forget
He
the
said
kid's
him
name
by
here.
name. Yeah, he said, I need to hear it.
I'm gonna need to hear that War Eagle. So I mean, listen, hey, that's it. We should all take that approach when you're out about and you say War Eagle to somebody, and they're wearing War Eagle gear, and they don't say it back to you. You're gonna have to go right up to their face and go, I'm gonna need to hear it, like, or else you're gonna give me that hat. Like that's just not gonna fly. I had too many of those moments where some of you out there wearing Auburn gear and you don't say War Eagle back. Why are you wearing the gear? You're not Leonardo DiCaprio just trying to blend in, and that's what he does sometimes. If you wear the War Eagle gear, be like Coach Golish, or if you see them, be like Coach Golish and go up to them and say, Steven, whoever, Patricia, I'm going to need to hear it. War Eagle. I don't know. I just threw the first name that came out of my head. What a show. All right, let's jump into it. We got two main topics to hit this evening. We're going to start off with some Diamond Sports Weeks. We haven't really had a time to break this thing out a little bit more. We've been covering it on the fly with everything that's been going on. Well, let's talk about baseball first. Obviously, we're sitting in the middle of a very, very challenging end of the season. If this wasn't big enough for you with the Texas A&M series, you got Georgia coming up at home and a lot of exciting things there as well. There was a lot of talk about the environment that Auburn was going to be going into at Texas A&M. There were videos posted of some of the elements they were trying to pump into Plainsman Park during practice. Some people shared that on social media. So you could feel the importance of this weekend, I think, and a lot of emphasis on Auburn had to get something out of this in terms of the win columns. What was going to happen, we're about to talk about, but I think you could just feel the anxiousness around it. The results of the week are as such. You had the first game, which was just the most shocking score ever for such a high profile matchup at Bluebell Park. 18-5, Auburn wins. Whew. I mean, just a run rule victory right there. They win 5-4, comeback win for that one against Texas A&M, and nearly did it again game 2, but they do lose 3-4. So Austin, what is your assessment of this Auburn baseball team after heading out to College Station, Bluebell Park, and getting a series dubbed in the first 2 games?
Yeah, and in one day, right?
Yeah.
Doubleheader moved to Saturday for rain. They come out 18-5, just absolutely knocking the ball out of the park left and right all over Bluebell. And then 5-4, the bats stay hot enough to get you another win. Just surprising, just really surprising to me, not because they couldn't do it, but just because on the road against a baseball power in A&M, you just don't see performances like that all that often. Pitching was amazing. Andres Alvarez in game 1, a complete game. I know it was a run rule victory, but he pitched a complete game. What that does for your bullpen in game 2, but also he just sets a career high in strikeouts while doing it with 11. Just unbelievable performance by Auburn, especially on Saturday. And man, I was driving back today and we were listening to Auburn baseball. Randomly found it near Bay Minette, and man, they almost pulled it off again. And that's all. Look, it hurts because you were that close. But 2 out of 3 on the road at Texas A&M is anything. Any of us would have taken that on Friday morning. So just an incredible job. And there's not much time to revel in it because they got more to come these next 2 weekends.
Absolutely. The work is not done yet. Still plenty of season left. I got to be honest with you. I was very disappointed for Jackson Sanders when he was pulled from the starting lineup. But this tandem that's been going right now of him being just thrown into in a long relief situation with pairing him up with Jake Marciano this week. I mean, this is special. I hope people recognize what you've been through the past couple of seasons with the starting pitching, some seasons not being great at all and very disappointing from what the expectations were to just, being good, but, could have been better. You've got a really good pitching staff here, folks. And this is from a almost full regular season body of work. And we've had to change out the weekend rotation a bunch because people are just doing too good in the midweek. So really like that. And the bats are coming along. I mean, 18 runs against Texas A&M at their place. That was wild. I didn't expect to see that final score when it finally came up on my screen. because I wasn't able to watch that one. That was wild. The other thing from Texas A&M that I think we need to discuss was a lot of conversation. Was the conversation happening on the TV broadcast? Did you hear all the talk about that? About a little bias there from the. And
I
you
did.
understand why.
And it doesn't surprise me. I thought Brad Law put out a pretty good explanation of things. Just like a lot of when it's on SEC Network Plus, it's just it doesn't. It's a lot of times it's patched through for the radio broadcast, which is obviously a biased call. I don't think people realize it quite as much, but when we're on SEC Network Plus, sometimes at home it's Britt Bowen calling it, sometimes it's JJ Jackson calling it, and those are Auburn guys. They call Auburn softball every game. And now there's a level of professionalism. I think War Eagle Plus, or not War Eagle Plus, War Eagle Productions is able to do when they are producing the game through SEC Network Plus. That is maybe a reason Auburn people were taken aback by the A&M broadcasters. But I saw it, and it was honestly one of those things where I was like, yeah, is that annoying? But it's not that big of a deal. And I thought Brad pointed it out well, that you could pull them up on YouTube and link it up. And but it is funny to compare the home runs side by side, especially when one is I think the one they got really excited about was like when it made it 18-5. It was 18-3, and they're just going nuts. And it's like, guys, you're down 13.
Yeah.
And then the Auburn Brandon McCrane 3-run shot to go up 18 is like, oh gosh.
Well, I think it's funny too, because you saw, I think, maybe an awareness by the broadcast team there that maybe they were getting some flack for that. And they kept talking about how great in game 2, especially, this matchup is, and just how blessed we are to see like this. And I'm like, yeah, y'all got some notes from somebody. But then at the end of the game, when the pitches weren't going their way, oh man, they were so sour. It was just and listen, we get it. It goes both ways. We know that there's sometimes, but I do generally think, from having heard several broadcast teams at this point, I'm a little biased, but our team tends to have a certain degree of professionalism. Their comments tend to be real quick passes by, as opposed to, oh my gosh, can you hear these? Anyway, he's like, I disagree, like that, that type of thing. All right, look, the rest of the Diamond Week, it's not great. Softball is just having a rough season. We are not gonna shy away from it. Swept by LSU, and you talked that Texas A&M win for Auburn baseball was great. Well, that second game lost, LSU 0-25. Yeah, I said it. 0-25 is nothing to write home about. And unfortunately, somebody did have to write home about it, because they have to write the recaps at the end of each of these games. So I know there's a lot of frustration building up amongst the fan base for year 2 of the Malveaux. It will be a slide back from their mark that they set last year. We're not in the business here of calling for people's jobs, whether it's the head coaches or others or things like that. But, I think it's important that we acknowledge this is not, if you go back and watch our season prediction show, this was not it, was it?
No, that was not it. You expect to be competitive. That's not. But I mean, there's obviously things not going right in the program and with the team right now. So their job is to try and fix it. And we've seen other sports, but experiences where it's a bad regular season and Auburn finds a way to kind of make some noise in the postseason and see what can happen. And in games like softball and baseball, especially, you never know. You truly never know what can happen. Yeah. And so, like we'll talk about here in a minute, the SEC tournament's up next, and there's no, but they like to say it's a clean slate, new season, because what you do there is what can really propel you to maybe go on, keep your season alive.
Yeah, and I think that's an important part to bring up as we look at the SEC tournament here, just as a preview. I know everybody's not super excited about it, given how the regular season went, but anything can happen. And it's really important for Auburn to do something here, because I think if the speculation is this will be the first time they've missed true postseason play beyond the conference tournament in 13 seasons, and that's through 2 different coaching regimes as well. So just keep that in mind, where the team has been even through some of those transitions. To do that in the SEC tournament, they've got to, as the 15th seed, the 13th seed? 14th out of, and that would be 15 total seats. That's why it's such a weird bracket, because of
it's Vanderbilt. It's always their fault. It's
Why
always their fault.
y'all
When in doubt, it is their fault.
Ah, man, but y'all got Diego Pavia. Then you can't get your video board up in time. You have to put it up on cranes. And y'all are supposed to be the smart ones. Like y'all can't even have a softball team. I know it's
Go ahead and say it. You missed a huge.
And
thank you. Got to meet our quota.
You have the monstrosity of all like the 7 wonders of the world. They've got the 7 monstrosities of the world, and they're all the Vanderbilt Coliseum, whatever it is, that floor that they have. Like it's not even just 7 different things. It's all that.
Can I say one thing and to get us off Vanderbilt for one? Can you you know what would be worse for Auburn softball right now? Because I was just wondering. I was like, where is this being hosted this year?
Oh no.
It's in Lexington.
Oh.
And they are the 15 seed. That's bad.
If I may point it back to last season wasn't amazing. Auburn hosted last year, and they were probably one of the lower seeds, weren't they?
Well, we weren't dead last.
We're not dead last, so it could be worse.
That's pretty bad.
It could be worse. All right. I've gone off enough. Enough about Vanderbilt. This is SEC softball bracket tournament. Auburn is the 14 seed out of 15, so not dead last there. They will take on Missouri, who I believe they got 1 game on. That sound right, Austin? I think
they did.
There's very few opportunities to say that, but I think they did. So they're the 11 seed. They will have to, move on here to have a chance probably for the postseason, the true postseason. Here's just a quick look at the path potential. If Auburn beats Missouri, they would take on Texas A&M. If Auburn beats Texas A&M, they would take on Florida. And then, whatever happens from the other side. And on the other side, can I just remind you, sits Texas and Oklahoma. So it's going to be rough.
They'll have to go against each other in the semifinals.
Yes. That's interesting, isn't it?
And then face Auburn in the championship.
Oh, and there you go. See, I'm going to blame you for the rough softball season because I think you had the more bullish. Were you the one that had the more bullish?
I don't remember. That feels like eons ago. That feels like many, many runs ago.
That feels like 25 less runs in game 2 of LSU ago. But
don't forget UCLA.
Yeah. Thanks for bringing that up. Listen, we're not going to shy away from it, folks, but we hope that you all will just kind of keep cool heads and let the decision makers make the decisions, whatever those be. Certainly nobody likes this and nobody approves of even the head coaches and the players of the results thus far this season, and they'll work hard to fix that. All right, what a great note to transition to our final topic this evening. We told you all that we would be doing a lot of discussing about the Jordan-Hare North project, also known as Ever Auburn. Visit everauburn.com. I get nothing for saying this. I'm just going to throw that out there. But I do think it is an incredible resource if you are an Auburn fan or just curious about what Auburn's doing with this stadium expansion project. Incredible resource for you to go look at and talk about. And that's basically what we're going to be doing here is walking through that together and looking at some of these things. In previous episodes about this, previous episode, I think it was episode 169, we looked at the original rendering, 168, whatever, the renderings, when we got the official approval and all of this information from the website. We've got, we looked at why this is happening, timeline, all that stuff. So I would highly recommend. No, we're not talking handrails, chat. I see the chat already trying to stir me up.
He was waiting on you. He was waiting.
But yes, all of that is up there. And yes, as you are listening to this and you are on Facebook right now deciding that you're going to type about handrails, don't do it. Just don't do it, folks.
Just say no.
Just say no. Don't do drugs. That's literally what that's becoming for some of you guys right now. All right, I'm done. Let's move forward here. Go check out all that stuff, timeline, the initial discussion of the approval, why it's happening on our previous episodes. What we're going to do here is we're going to just start talking about it from the different level schematics that are there, because this goes from level 0 to level 1, 2, 3, all the way up to the terrace level thing. And there are a ton of aspects that we need to talk about. As a reminder, this is a north end zone project only. That is the only part of the stadium that this applies to, and thus that you keep that into perspective here. Let's start with level 0, of it, the field level as it is known. I am looking at the schematic. There's a schematic on the main page, and you can show you the different, how they stack on top of each other and how it's going to look like at a side view, which I think is really cool.
This is like right above game day experiences.
Is right above. Yeah. If you go down there and you click on the field level 001, it brings you the schematic of what it's like, the overhead. If you were like a floor plan. So, but keep in mind, go look at all the other pictures too, because there are other ones that'll show you what some of the elements of each of these levels will have. Such one of the headline things for this one is the kick six club and suite spaces and viewing stuff on the field. Austin, let me just start right there before we talk about what it looks like. How are you feeling about seats being removed to make way for a field level access down there? As a general fan, you're probably not someone that's going to be purchasing those tickets. I'm just going to be right.
Well, I mean, the paycheck you give me every month is certainly well enough to get that.
I need to retract that. I think it was supposed to go to me this week. So, sorry about that.
Well, I guess we'll just try to go to Hawaii with men's golf again.
Oh,
The way I look at it as someone who probably won't be partaking is it removes seats, but it switches seats out. There'll still be seats there that just likely will be out of the price point of those that usually sit there.
Yeah.
With that said, I don't have a huge problem with it. Don't hate me. I just think that it's a way that Auburn and when you look at the root of the cause of this project, as John Cohen said in his press release and in his speech about why this is happening, is there is a wait list for luxury seating, very long. And this is a way to be creative and having a way to give those people an option of being in luxury seating with suites and patios and lounges and all the things. Schematically, I said this about when they took away the flower beds and put the things in the corners. I don't really see, as someone who likes to watch the game, why that is as appealing, because you're at the field level. But I think it is a way
over,
Yeah. There's going to be a field goal post right there.
And photographers who, even though they try to stay down,
that's a lot of butts to look at that aren't playing the game. So
sorry, all the media members out there, we're staring at your butts, I guess.
Just make sure you got your belts on. But I mean, at least you got a big old jumbotron you can watch, right? And I'd imagine there's some screens inside those suites that'll be available. I can see this though as how it's probably a pretty big business opportunity for people to take clients to, that kind of thing. And that's just the name of the game, folks. Like, I know there's probably some of you really upset that your seats will be taken out right there. I'm sure you'll be offered ways to pick other seats. And
sure.
It might not be the same price points, but it's kind of the world we live in of now. And I don't think this kind of decision makes everyone happy. But I think it's a creative way for Auburn to take advantage of some cash that people have said they're willing to put up for it.
Yeah. I think I agree a lot with what you said there. I don't see the value necessarily in this, but I think obviously Auburn's done the research and they see the value in this. If you're someone that's worried about the loss of those seats, we hear you on that. I'm not saying there's not a discussion. We're not saying that there's not a discussion point to be had there, but you have to trust that the research been done. This is something that is going to be valuable to the stadium. So just kind of walking through the schematic a little bit, since we got that part out, I know that was going to be a big discussion point for most people. If you are standing in the end zone, looking at that, the field level access, seats have been taken out in the traditional sense. And the first row is up higher, now, which if you're the first row now, you got you're looking over everybody on the non-suite side of these things.
No butts.
No buts. So there's that viewing area. If you know what I compared this to to Austin. I just called you Auburn. Wow.
That's an honor.
It is an honor. I think it's the home plate club behind Plainsman Park. This feels very much like that, not just with the way that's set up, and that's probably a better viewing opportunity for that particular sport.
It is. Different sport. Yeah.
But if you've ever been back there, and I have, you will see that there's a lounging areas with TVs and where some food places, and that's what you see here. There is going to be the Kick Six Suites patio where people can go, and maybe there's some seats there, but more standing area. And you probably need to stand if you're going to be up there. But you can go indoors and outdoors to experience your game day, whatever you need it to be. So they don't have to sweat like the rest of us peons out there.
I'd imagine it's more of a social experience,
yes,
in this area, and for some people that's their thing on game day, and
yes.
that's what they prefer more of. Some people want to sweat, and some people want to walk the stadium and get every vantage point possible and post it to YouTube. But for these people, I think that it's probably more of us. I'm not talking about anyone in particular, Kyle.
That's okay.
I think
it's who you're talking about.
I think this is more of a social experience, like I mentioned, for clients and things like that. And
sure,
it's understandable.
So the patio's there. Behind there on the right side, you've got what's called the Kick Six Club. And we probably won't have the pictures to come up on this day. We're just looking at the schematic.
That kind of club.
You are on one tonight. Kick Six Suites, which are going to be even more private areas for that. And then a Kick Six Lounge, obviously, for those of you that want to partake of the things now that alcohol sold in the stadium and all that kind of stuff. So that's your main interest points when you look at that lower level schematic. But I want to point out a couple things here. A couple things, actually. First of all, they give you the color legends of premium, event spaces, common spaces, and operations areas. Operation is grayed out, which means you shouldn't be back there if you're not part of the staff. You have the orange spaces, which we just got done talking about. Notice this, Austin. Look in that right corner where the current premium spaces I would take it are. There's only one orange space. So are they taking away one of those premium spaces, or am I reading that incorrectly? I mean, what do you think about that? Where the flower beds used to be, and they currently do.
Oh yeah. Like I see. You mean on the left? It's not a premium space. Like, will those seats still be there? Is what you're asking?
Yeah, I'm wondering because maybe it's just a miscoloring, but it's something to point out in the schematic. I noticed that.
Good question. Yeah, I mean, I think it certainly could. Those seats. Now, are there those things in that area?
I think that stretches over there. If I remember on the photos, you'll see them still there. I'm looking through a couple of them now to see if they give us that look. But it's just something to point out, just as we're kind of looking at these things.
And I think as we're on this level too, another thing to point out in this same realm, because you talk about that corner area, is where does the visiting team run out?
And I think that's a great thing to put up here. Because if you look at the back right, that's where the visiting team locker rooms are.
Which will have to be redone.
Which will have to be redone a little bit. So they're not going to spend any time. If you've ever gotten a view of the visiting team locker rooms, it's like your most, the cheapest.
I say they
high
make
school.
It worse. Take your opportunity and make it worse.
I say we make them sit on the floor. That's what we do. Right. You wonder where they're going to exit. You really do. Maybe it's the same space there because it does look like there's still a little bit of a tunnel space coming behind one of those that little premium jutted out spot. But
I will say this too, Kyle. Over there where you're talking, where that premium jutted space spaces out, is Hobart talked about recently that because of the Argentina-Iceland game, someone asked about the dimensions and all that, and they're going to have to take out the shrubberies,
the inner hedges.
The inner hedges, right? Yeah. And we're going to have to do that anyway for this. And so that could be part of it. And also maybe them reconfiguring where the visiting team runs out. I don't know. I hope they don't run out in the middle. That seems a little too prestigious to me.
It doesn't seem like that is there in the schematic, but we could be wrong. They need to run out the smallest corridor possible so they get claustrophobic and
one by one.
One by one, so that they can just feel, imagine trying to get some of them big bodies out of there with offensive linemen and stuff.
Yeah.
The SEC.
I don't know where they're coming from.
Two more things I want to point out, and unless you've got things that I want to leave space.
Go ahead.
There is a common area down there with 2 restrooms. Now, I don't know why you would go down there if you're not going to the actual premium spaces and access to that. But
you're telling me you won't go down there?
Oh, I would totally go down there if I know that there's a somewhat less used bathroom. I'm just pointing out for those of you that don't see the value in premium spaces at this moment, based off the schematic, there is a common area and a common restroom down there. Do with that information what you will on a hot day where you need a little bit of a break from the, screaming crowds out there. The last thing that I want to point out, Austin, and it's not very clear in this, but at the back, very back, beyond all that space, that's operations area, because you and I have speculated about this.
Mhm.
What is going to happen with the new up above it patio or plaza space that's being built there? What are they going to do for Tiger Transit and or other routes around what is called Heisman Drive around the stadium? Is that what we're looking at, an underground road? We've looked at some renderings, and I think I've made myself convince myself that there is an underground road, quote unquote.
I've convinced myself that it is underground, but I've convinced myself it's the loading dock underground for the visitor trucks.
But would Tiger Transit also utilize that during the school week to get in and out around?
Maybe. We just don't know where it pops
Sure.
out. That would be my only question. I have a feeling they're going to redo some. I know nothing. I just want to point that out.
I know nothing.
In so many areas, but especially about this. I know nothing. But I have a feeling they're going to configure the intersection of where Wallace is and the ROTC field is, and like you're leaving, like you're going to the village, that crosswalk.
Yeah.
Right now, it's not big enough for a Tiger Transit to turn onto that road. I just have a feeling that intersection is going to change to accommodate, and the road that we've known in between Petrie and the pharmacy school that has been a walkway for so long, not really used. I just have a feeling that's going to be truly a road again.
That makes sense.
But I don't know. It's the big question. I feel like for the everyday student and the professor and all the things, the big question is, where's the Tiger Transit going to go? Because it's already pretty a mess.
Well, and it would be really cool if that's what we kind of go underneath the bows and come back out and kind of stuff. It's like a little special little thing. But I agree with you. This is probably where the operations visiting team has to go squeeze in there to get to their, all that stuff, which means that Clint Richardson won't get to take pictures of the, football trucks coming in from the visiting teams like he always likes to do anymore, because they'll be probably underground is the base. Right. We're speculating. We're going off the schematic. That's all we're really doing here. So that is all we have probably time for tonight. I told y'all it was going to take a while, but
I didn't think we'd do all of it on level 0-0. So that's impressive.
We didn't even go into detail about looking at some of the pictures and things like that. This is, like I told you folks, we're going to be breaking this out as much as we can because we need things to talk about. But no, there's always plenty to talk about. One thing that I do want to squeeze in at the end, and I don't know that there was an official statement from Auburn or anything like that, and I don't know who to credit to on the media. There was a report, I think, based off maybe the Board of Trustees minutes, that Petrie Hall will be renovated as part of, not as part of this, but in addition to with that space. And you kind of alluded to it with what's happening with Tiger Transit, that plaza area, everything that's going on in this vicinity of Jordan-Hare North. Very historic building. The old, office for George Petrie, legendary Auburn figure, is there. I'm very happy to know that they're going to invest in, preserving that, because with all the change, that worries a lot of people,
It does. And it's a space that hasn't been touched in a while. It's been GA offices for a long time. It's been just straight storage for a long time. We saw some like pop-up shops a while back in the upper area. But I think it needs some serious renovation as far as some cleaning in there, of maybe gutting some walls and things like that. And so you do with that what you will. But I think that it's good to see there's an investment in that, because with this expansion and with all they plan to do with the plaza right there, make this just a really beautiful spot on campus, Petrie deserves to be a part of that. And I think you and I have talked about a museum of sorts. It'd be pretty great.
Would be pretty great. And can I just throw this out here as maybe one final prediction, suggestion, see if you agree with it. I think we need a George Petrie statue right outside the hall, overlooking the thing that he helped. I think right there, we've debated that those two spots they essentially have open next to Cliff Air over there in the other side of the stadium. That should be one Mike Donahue and George Petrie, in my opinion. Maybe we put Mike over there and we put George by his namesake of a building.
I'm going to advocate by his namesake of a building, for one, that it just makes sense, and two, that it is what Auburn has described as the perfect blend of athletics and campus. What does more than that than the Auburn Creed, which he authored So I'm going to say George Petrie gets a statue outside of his building. I think that's a
Heard
very
it here
worthy
first.
cause. Yep.
You heard it here first, and we're saying it. They didn't listen to us about renaming the soccer field the Hoppa. They still can do that, Auburn. But listen to us here. Give us that statue of George Petrie. We'll be there day one talking. We'll be like the only ones raving about it, probably. But
I'm all for it.
I'm all for it. And I think this is a really special thing.
Would you settle for a bust like John Heisman has, or you want a full statue?
I want a full flipping statue of George Petrie. What does he look like? I don't know, but
I want writing like this. Him writing the creed like this.
Oh my goodness. Him writing the creed down right there. And then if you can somehow like get a view of like the first words, or the only words, I believe in Auburn and love it. Like,
yeah, there you go. The scroll is coming off his desk. Maybe he's sitting down and he's just like this. Yeah, I like it.
So now we've got him sitting at a desk statue, basically.
Maybe. I don't know.
At his desk in the building or outside?
I don't know. I want it inside. Maybe in the museum we have like Walt Disney animatronic style writing the creed. Hall of Presidents style. You know what I mean? He's saying the creed. You push the button.
Austin, I'm going to cry.
I'm ready, man. You push the button. Now,
I'm a little misty-eyed right now. I'm not going to lie.
I want to tell you right now, I apologize for when my kids break it because they're going to press the button over and over and over and over and over. But I think you have him in his office, Hall of Presidents style, and you can hear George Petrie write the creed as Abby stands over his shoulder. Look, for all I did this episode, that's pretty good.
What I would stand up right now. I am wearing pants. It just wouldn't be like a great view. I would stand up right now. You have earned whatever non-money I give you for this podcast. You have earned it and then some. Well done, sir.
All off the cuff, man.
Man, what a way to end the show. That's awesome. Episode 171 in the books. Thank you all for being here with us for a very interesting one, but ended strong there. As always, we want to remind you of how to connect with us. You can do so with me through the E2C Network social media accounts. Direct messages are open pretty much everywhere. E2CNetwork@gmail.com is a great way to do that too. And where can they find you, sir?
Yeah, at Austin G. Scott on just about anything. Look, you get the whole Auburn experience. You get the whole Austin experience too. It's a roller coaster.
I did not expect that little throw in at the end of the show to go where it did. And I am so happy that it did.
Look at us, man. Look at us.
I have never been more proud of you than I have been in this moment right now. So it's
wow. That means
like
a lot.
You almost reached Cody Burns level of my love for someone right now. I'm just going to be honest with you right now.
It'd be pretty cool.
With that being said, thank you guys for being here. And as we go, we remind you the Auburn Creed we just talked about. Remind you to do justly, to love mercy, and to walk humbly with God. We ask you to do the same. War Eagle.
War Eagle.